Ever since April 1999, when more than 10,000 Falun Gong members were mobilized to protest outside China's central government buildings in Beijing, the group has been associated with public protests. Readers from around the world may have seen Falun Gong members protesting outside Chinese embassies, important events, or at tourist sites. Similar protests also frequently occur in Taipei, primarily outside Taipei 101, Sun Yat-sen Memorial Hall, and the Imperial Palace Museum, all of which are popular destinations for Chinese tourists. With the recent thawing in relations between China and Taiwan, tourism between the two countries has increased. In particular, many Chinese tourists now make the short trip over to Taiwan to spend a few days or a bit longer looking around at the tourist sites in that country. In April 2010, I spent some time observing Falun Gong protesters at Taipei 101 and Sun Yat-sen Memorial Hall. The locations for these protests become a junction of politics, economics, spirituality, and tourism. At the Sun Yat-sen bus parking lot, Falun Gong had set up some posters and a table with information. One gentleman was on hand to talk to interested people, while two adherents were meditating in the adjacent garden. You can see here that the posters on offer were quite graphic in the images that they displayed, as well as in their denunciations of the Chinese government. There is no way that anyone walking past would have been able to ignore this particular protest. You can see a member of the Chinese tourist party posing for a photograph. He's just got off the tourist bus and is on his way into the main hall, however has stopped to take a happy snap in front of Taipei 101. However, it's unlikely that it will just be Taipei 101 that's in the photo. You can see in the background there's a row of Falun Gong signs, as well as a Falun Gong adherent doing some exercises on the left-hand side of the photo. This will undoubtedly make for an interesting photo when he takes it home to show his friends and family back in China. Here is a group of tourists who have left their bus and are walking through the car park on the way to Sun Yat-sen Memorial Hall. They're walking in a very direct manner, in a nice line, following their tour group leader, and are not stopping to look at the posters to their right. However, you can see that some of the tourist group are looking at the posters, and their interest has been piqued by this presentation. The body language of the tourists here is interesting. They're craning their necks to look at the posters. However, they are continuing to walk on directly to the hall itself. They're not stopping to have a look at the posters in any detail, at least at this stage. The tourists are going into Sun Yat-sen Hall to have a look at the changing of the guard. This is a military ceremony full of pomp and precision. It's quite interesting to watch. I enjoyed it myself. However, just to the right of the main entrance to the hall, there were about 12 Falun Gong members sitting down doing some Falun Gong exercises as part of their spiritual practice. Aside from wearing the yellow vests and clothes that indicated they were adherents of Falun Gong, these practitioners were not doing anything in any way to engage with tourists that were walking past. They were just silently sitting outside the hall, and in that way their protest was simply demonstrating that they could do this outside the memorial hall to one of the founding fathers of democracy in Taiwan, as well as an important figure in Chinese history. Here are some Chinese tourists returning to their bus, having witnessed or gone in and had a look at Sun Yat-sen Memorial Hall. You can see that this group is spending a bit more time to look at the posters. However, there's a woman on the right there who's sticking her arm out, gesturing for her friend or her husband to get a move on and get back in the bus so that they can all get on to the next destination, which in all likelihood would be Taipei 101. Taipei 101 is the world's second largest building and is an extremely popular destination in Taiwan for tourists. It is built in a new area of Taipei where there's quite wide boulevards and footpaths. Recently, a Falun Gong protester was fined the equivalent of $10 for obstructing traffic. However, upon appeal, his case was dismissed, and in doing so, the judge said, "Freedom of speech is protected by the Constitution, and the police should not infringe upon the public's basic human rights unless their behaviour poses a threat to public order or violates other people's freedoms." Punishing this member of Falun Gong for protesting Chinese oppression of Falun Gong was excessive. The manner of the protests outside Taipei 101 was a bit different. There were two women there with a series of placards. These women would walk around and position themselves in opportune locations so that people could read the placards. They weren't actively engaging with the crowd in any way. However, they were quite mobile and could move to wherever they thought there might be a group who would be interested to read what they had to say. However, it wasn't all smooth sailing there, as you might expect, given that there had recently been some police intervention with the Falun Gong. Here you can see a man in the center. He's wearing a tan jacket and has a tan baseball cap, and he's engaging in an argument with a woman. The man was arguing that the Falun Gong protesters should not be there outside Taipei 101, and they were interfering and being a nuisance. However, the woman was there protesting, or not protesting, but arguing that the Falun Gong had a right to put their point of view across in a democratic country such as Taiwan. On the road opposite Taipei 101, there were a series of signs that anyone coming out of the building would see. This particular sign is arguing that the Argentinian legislature supports Falun Gong in their battle against the Chinese Communist Party.